One of the interesting things in Battletech compared to other wargaming systems is how the units, the various units in the game, are created, modified, and built, whether we're talking about mechs, vehicles, aircraft, infantry, compared to another wargaming system where the units are well defined and locked in. This comes down to the design of both games. Often what you'll see in other wargaming systems is a unit will be designed, this tank would be cool, or this is an idea for a new type of unit in the game. The model is created, the unit is created, and then the stats are developed and slotted into the rule set. What this means is you're locked into a unit, just for the framework, you're locked into a unit that isn't really fully customizable. There might be a few options to switch out some war gear or add a few more miniatures or upgrade it to a veteran status, but it's set. Now compare that to Battletech. There are defined units. Let's take one of my favorite mechs, the Marauder. That Marauder has a primary configuration, the Mad 1, how it operates, and how, for the most part, in the inner sphere, how you're going to find it. But that idea was built from the mech creation rules. I can take that Marauder and completely deconstruct it. I can remove the PPCs. I can switch around some armor configurations. I could build an all-missile Marauder. I could take the chassis, the look of it, and really mix things up. I can swap the engines, make it a little faster, a little slower, of course, affecting armor and weapons. It's a template. Every vehicle and mech in the technical readout is a template. Now, once we have that framework and that understanding, obviously getting into customization and different types of configurations for the mechs, custom mechs, creating your own mech from scratch and understanding or looking at balance, taking that into account. Because it's a wargaming system, nothing is free. Battletech is interesting, and there's a few players that I know that they supplement their mech armies with this. And one player in particular, he's also a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, the card game. So drafting cards, coming up with cards for the different missions. He just runs absolute circles around me when we play Lord of the Rings. He loves crafting and creating his own mechs. And then he takes those, models them, gets them 3D printed. Every piece in his army is customizable, and it is 100% street legal, 100% okay to play. You would never have any problem bringing a custom mech to any Battletech game because it's built into the rules. Battletech assumes mech creation rules. All of the mechs that we see in the readouts, they're done using these creation rules. Now we've got that framework. This idea of battle value. Some players will use C-bills, some will use tonnage, but battle value is a system where your mech costs a certain amount of points. The more stuff you add, the higher the points go. Different weapons, different potencies, different engines, different ratings, light, medium, heavy, assault, have different battle values. The more powerful the mech, the greater the battle value. And then there's some tweaks based on how much ammo you want to carry, but also taking into account the mech warrior pilot and gunnery skill. So in theory, right, no war game is 100% perfect with the rule set. And then there's the layer of tactics and understanding and just how good you are of playing. But for the most part, the idea is if we both build lances with 10K battle value, inner sphere, 10K clans is like nothing, then we can have radically different stuff. But the idea is, hey, you had the starting balance point to work with. What did you do with it? So absolutely, you can construct your own mechs, and they are fair to play. Now, in terms of balance and how things work, that you have to really explore. You could build some pretty devastating mechs. Some of the mechs with all medium lasers and a good amount of heat to fire multiples a turn or perhaps clear it in one turn. That can be very devastating. You want to build that? That's fine. In theory, I'll do my best to take it apart from a far distance. In theory, once it goes to internals and you start suffering crits, those medium lasers are going to drop off very, very fast. So on paper, you can come up with some machines, and this is part of the fun of experimenting, that look, hey, pretty broken or pretty deadly, or I'm looking for a loophole. They are somewhat balanced out. Now, of course, going back to this idea of all medium lasers on a mech, if you can tactically leverage that where you can get up and zap me and I can't stop you because you have other pieces working with that, that's not necessarily a broken mech design. It's just you're leveraging some good tactica that for whatever reason, I'm having trouble stopping. But absolutely 100%, you could customize your mechs based on the stock mechs. You could play variants. You could completely build your own machines from scratch, print them out, 3D mechs, pulling in mechs from another system, playing them like that. The game for Battletech can be completely reduced down to battle value, built up using battle value, and you could take that machine and play anywhere. And just speaking for myself, playing in a couple of different Battletech groups and playing for a number of years, I've never seen any problem with customized mechs. I've never seen any problem in players building their own mechs. That's a sub part of the game that opens up some interesting tactica that many players enjoy. And the times that I have faced completely customized mechs and lists, I've really enjoyed it because yes, I've got my favorites, the Warhammer, the Crusader, the Stalker, the Locust, the Marauder, the Archer, the Longbow. I mean, I've got my classic machines that I love playing, I love fighting, but it's interesting and it's neat, right? My hero Maximus, are you not entertained? Those moments where this is something new I've never encountered for, right? The scanners are up. I don't know this configuration. What the heck is this? It's interesting to see other player personality and other player creativity with what they bring. So if you're thinking about jumping into the mech creation rules, absolutely. Check it out, build it up, try it out, refine it, bring it to the hex map, gets blown up, refine it. You can come up with some pretty efficient and deadly and interesting mechs.